Imagine being, the absolute best in the world at what you do. Your distance control is so precise you can drop a ball on a dinner plate from 2 football fields away.
Right, like total mastery of the physics.
Exactly. But then you are standing on the 16th tee, you swing, and instead of a soaring, majestic drive, the ball just shoots sideways.
Oof.
Yeah, a cold, dead shank straight into the water. And you turn to your caddy, completely bewildered, and just say, I don't understand.
I mean, it's hard to watch, but that was the literal reality for world number one Scotty Scheffler this past weekend.
It really was. Welcome to our deep dive for today. We are looking at a huge stack of tournament reports, player interviews, and shot data from what was, honestly, a massive chaotic week in professional golf.
Yeah, we've got a ton of ground to cover.
We really do. Our mission for you today is to extract the mechanics, the psychology, and the hidden equipment strategies that really defined two major events. We are talking about the 81st U.S. Women's Open at Riviera Country Club and the PGA Tour's signature event, the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield Village.
And, we really need to emphasize that this wasn't some pristine exhibition of launch angles and perfect biomechanics.
No, not at all. This was a high-stakes survival test.
Exactly.
Which raises a really fascinating question for you to consider as we get into this. When historic venues bare their absolute sharpest teeth and the wind starts howling, does winning actually become less about the perfect golf swing and entirely about, sheer cognitive endurance?
I mean, the short answer is yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you stop playing the physical yardage and you start playing the environment. To really understand the collapse we saw from so many elite players, you have to understand the battlegrounds first.
Right. So let's talk about Riviera Country Club.
Right, so it's their centennial year, and Riviera is just a masterpiece of defensive architecture. It uses kikuyu grass, which is it's incredibly thick and sticky.
Just actively grabs the club head, right?
Totally grabs it. And the greens are really small and severely tilted, so when you add heavy Pacific Ocean winds to that mix, the margin for error shrinks to literally zero.
So that yardage book a player spent hours memorizing on Tuesday basically becomes completely useless by Sunday.
Exactly. And we witnessed a really similar environmental hostile takeover over at Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio.
Oh man, Muirfield was brutal.
It was. Jack Nicklaus designed that course to demand absolute perfection anyway. But then you factor in the rain delays that forced the leaders to play a grueling 33 holes on Sunday.
33 holes in one day on a Nicklaus course.
Right. Combined with these brutal, completely unpredictable afternoon gusts, that kind of weather creates a really severe sensory mismatch for the players.
Which completely explains Scheffler's shank on the 16th.
Yes, exactly.
He executes what his brain tells him is a perfect swing, but then this invisible wall of wind just destroys the ball flight. And we saw Rory McIlroy fall victim to it, too.
Oh, Rory had a really tough time.
He dropped 4 shots over his last 6 holes, posting a 74,
Correct.
and he completely whiffed a chip shot.
Which led to that viral sequence.
Yeah, the hilarious sequence of him basically chasing down a cameraman.
Yeah.
But, jokes aside, the frustration there is so real. It's like trying to thread a needle while riding a roller coaster.
That's a great way to put it.
So how does an elite athlete dynamically rewrite their mental map of a course when the weather completely changes the layout's defense right in the middle of a round?
Well, honestly, they have to abandon their ego. The players who get punished the hardest are the ones stubbornly trying to force their standard beautiful trajectories through those heavy crosswinds.
They just refuse to adapt.
Right. The players who survive are the ones who accept the chaos. You have to shorten your swing, keep the ball flight low, and sometimes you have to fundamentally change the tools you brought to the course.
And that brings us perfectly to JT Poston at the Memorial.
Yes, exactly.
Because he used cutting-edge technology like a massive mid-season gear switch to physically beat those exact conditions at Muirfield Village.
It was a brilliant move.
It really was. And just for context, Poston came into Ohio without a single top 20 finish in his previous 13 starts.
He was definitely struggling.
Right, but he builds this massive 4-shot lead by Sunday morning. But then the 33-hole marathon and that win we mentioned completely erase his lead by the 12th hole.
Which, the physical toll of stopping and starting through rain delays is exhausting on its own.
Oh, for sure.
But the psychological blow of watching a 4-shot lead evaporate in a high-stakes signature event, that usually breaks a player.
But he didn't break. Poston actually rallied. He buries this incredibly clutch 7-foot birdie on the 72nd hole to shoot an even par 72.
Right, which forces the playoff with Ryan Gerard at 12 under par.
And that playoff was tense. They go to sudden death on the 18th hole, and they have to play it twice. First time, they both make par.
But the second try is where the conditions really showed up.
Yeah, they both miss the fairway, and Gerard suffers this devastating 3-putt bogey. Meanwhile, Poston just calmly 2 putts for par to win $4 million and, a handshake from Jack Nicklaus.
The contrast between those two players down the stretch really highlights the sudden severity of the conditions.
It really does.
Gerard's caddy gave a brilliant quote afterward that I think captures it perfectly. He said, "I was spraying sunscreen and all of a sudden it started going all over the place. Oh, I guess it's windy now."
That is amazing. It paints such a vivid picture of how abruptly that microclimate shifted on them.
It really does.
But Poston's victory wasn't just about outlasting Gerard, right? It was kind of an engineering triumph.
It absolutely was an engineering triumph.
Let's dig into the tech here, because this honestly blew my mind. Poston recently looked at his TrackMan data, those radar systems that track everything from club speed to ball spin, and he noticed his irons were overspinning.
Right, they were generating too much RPM.
So he actually consults with the Titleist reps and switches to their Pro V1X left dash ball.
Yeah.
It has a firmer core and is specifically designed to kill that excess spin.
And he didn't just change the ball.
Right. He also debuted a brand new Titleist GTS3 driver and an unreleased TaylorMade 2026 Spider Tour X torched putter. But the ball switch is the real story here.
The golf ball switch is absolutely the critical variable because when you hit a golf ball, the backspin creates aerodynamic lift.
Like an airplane wing.
Exactly. In calm conditions, that lift keeps the ball in the air. But when you fire a high-spinning ball into a 20-mile-per-hour headwind, the wind dramatically amplifies that lift.
Right, so the ball just balloons straight up into the sky and drops like a stone, way short of the target.
Yes. The wind essentially punishes you for hitting a structurally good shot.
But I have to push back on this strategy a little bit. Changing your golf ball right before a multi-million-dollar signature event seems insanely reckless.
It sounds crazy, right?
It does. That is the equivalent of a Formula One driver switching to an entirely new, untested tire compound precisely as the rain starts while driving 200 miles an hour. Like, data is great, but golf is so much about human feel. Doesn't a firmer ball ruin his touch around the greens?
You're hitting on the classic tension between feel and physics here. It is a massive risk. But modern data provides an unparalleled safety net today.
Okay, how so?
Well, Poston knew that if he kept his standard high-spinning ball, he would have zero control over his apex in that wind. By switching to the left dash ball, he gave himself a heavier, more penetrating trajectory.
He actually cut through the gusts.
Exactly. Yes, he sacrifices a tiny fraction of soft feel around the greens, but the data proved that keeping his approach shots out of the wind's grasp would save him far more strokes than he might lose in the short game.
It is a real testament to how hyper-customized the sport has become.
Oh, completely.
So Poston used applied physics to basically ground his ball flight. But if we look at what happened out in California, the ultimate tool to combat the pressure was entirely internal.
Yes. Let's head over to Riviera.
Let's talk about Nelly Korda's historic victory at the 81st U.S. Women's Open.
Korda's performance was just an absolute psychological masterclass.
It really was. She starts the week with a pretty rough opening 73. And, at a U.S. Open, that usually means you are packing your bags early.
It's so hard to recover from a bad start there.
But she claws her way back with back-to-back 67s to share the 54-hole lead. And then Sunday was pure chaos.
Absolute chaos.
5 different players were within one shot of the lead with just 4 holes to play. Korda found herself in this intense heavyweight bout with Charlie Hull and Gabby Lopez.
And to execute under that kind of suffocating pressure, it requires a player to completely isolate themselves from the noise.
Which is hard at a major.
Especially there. Riviera's closing stretch is iconic. The par 5 17th forces a brutal risk-reward decision, and the 18th is an uphill, blind par 4 set into a natural amphitheater filled with thousands of screaming fans.
But she just embraces the noise.
Yeah.
On the 17th, she hits this incredibly gutsy 9-foot birdie putt to finally break the 4-way tie.
Such a clutch putt.
Which sets up the climax on the 18th hole. A moment the media instantly dubbed the great escape on social media.
I will never forget watching this.
Korda faces a 2.5-foot par putt to seal a 1-stroke victory at 8 under par. She strokes it, the ball catches the left edge, spins halfway around the cup a full 180-degree horseshoe, and somehow, miraculously, drops in.
The physics of a horseshoe lip-out are fascinating, and they are utterly terrifying for the player.
My heart stopped just watching it on TV.
Right. Because when a ball loops around the back of the cup like that, it means the entry speed was fractionally too high for the chosen line. The centrifugal force is actively trying to eject the ball back out onto the green.
Like a car taking a turn too fast.
Exactly. The fact that gravity won the tug-of-war before the ball escaped the lip is pure drama. That 30-inch putt was the razor-thin margin between a career-defining U.S. Open title and a devastating playoff.
The tension was everywhere that weekend, honestly. We even saw it in a really controversial rules incident involving the amateur Lottie Woad.
Oh, right, the Saturday morning incident.
Yeah, she was penalized 2 strokes for improving her stance.
And that rule often trips up casual fans, you know?
Yeah, could you explain that a bit?
Sure. In professional golf, improving your stance means altering the physical environment to give yourself a better swing path.
So it's not just about moving the ball.
No, not at all. If a player is in the rough and they deliberately press down the tall grass behind the ball with their foot, or even if they snap a small branch that is tickling their shoulder on the backswing, that is a penalty.
Wow.
You must play the course exactly as you find it. And the strictness of that rule just adds another layer of mental taxation to the players.
Speaking of mental taxation, there is one detail from Korda's final round I really cannot stop thinking about.
The shoes.
The shoes. On the 16th tee, right in the middle of this pressure cooker Sunday, Korda just casually takes off her custom LeBron Nike shoes and puts on a completely different pair.
That mid-round shoe change is such a brilliant window into the micro-adjustments elite athletes make to manage their nervous system.
Because my immediate thought was, this is like a baseball pitcher stepping off the mound, asking the umpire for a new ball just to slow the game down.
Oh, yeah, that's a great comparison.
Was changing her shoes a deliberate psychological reset button? What is the actual mechanism at play there?
Well, in sports psychology, that is known as a pattern interrupt.
A pattern interrupt. Okay.
Yeah. When the pressure of a major championship mounts, a player's cortisol and adrenaline inevitably spike. Their heart rate accelerates, their grip tightens, and their mind starts racing into the future, usually obsessing over the leaderboard.
Right, running through all the doomsday scenarios.
Exactly. If a player feels that anxiety loop taking over, they need a tangible physical trigger to shatter it.
So taking off her shoes forces her brain to stop obsessing over Charlie Hull's score and start focusing on the simple physical act of tying shoelaces.
It forces her back into the present moment. It shifts her focus from an uncontrollable external threat to a highly controllable internal action.
That is brilliant.
It really is. But there's also a profound sensory element to it. A new pair of shoes provides completely different tactile feedback from the ground.
Oh, interesting.
And golf is built from the ground up. Changing her footwear forces her brain to recalibrate her balance, her weight distribution, and her posture. It quite literally grounded her for those terrifying final 3 holes.
Well, whatever it did to her nervous system, it absolutely cemented her legacy. That win secures her 19th career LPGA title and her 2nd straight major of 2026.
Incredible stat.
She is the first player since Inbee Park to win the first 2 majors of the season.
And beyond just the historical aspect, the practical relief for her is immense.
Oh, because of the Solheim Cup.
Yes. She mathematically clinched her Solheim Cup spot months early, meaning she can play the rest of the season aggressively without the burden of qualification points weighing her down.
That perfectly highlights the unseen stakes of professional golf. Korda and Poston obviously secured the trophies, but the ripple effects of their putts drastically shifted the entire global ecosystem.
The world rankings are ruthless.
They really are. I want to look at how these results alter the official World Golf Ranking, or OWGR, because the points players earn literally dictate who gets access to the majors and who stays home.
Every tournament is a zero-sum game.
Exactly. When JT Poston won the Memorial, he earned 69 official World Golf Ranking points. And the immediate impact of those points is just staggering.
It changes everything for him.
By vaulting up the rankings, Poston instantly bypassed the grueling 36-hole U.S. Open sectional qualifying that was scheduled for the very next day.
Which is huge. Golf fans call that golf's longest day for a reason.
Right, because surviving a 33-hole marathon in the wind on Sunday at Muirfield, only to wake up Monday morning and walk another 36 holes just to try and qualify for a major, That sounds like a physiological nightmare.
It destroys players' bodies. Escaping that qualifier is a massive victory in itself.
But Poston's win also secured him exemptions into the next 3 majors, including a guaranteed spot in the 2027 Masters. He basically altered the entire trajectory of his career for the next 2 years with a single two-putt on the 18th green.
The stakes are just incredibly high on every single shot.
Let's expand our view to the rest of the globe for a second, because this weekend had massive implications on the Livy Golf circuit and the DP World Tour as well.
Yeah, a lot of movement over there.
Over at Livy Golf Andalusia at Valderrama, Tyrrell Hatton shot a final round 70 to finish at 11 under par. He secured a wire-to-wire victory, holding off Jon Rahm, who finished at 9 under.
And the dynamic between Hatton and Rahm is fascinating because they play for the exact same Levy team, Legion 13th.
Which is an interesting twist.
You would think team golf reduces individual pressure, but it often does the exact opposite.
Right, having your own teammate hunting you down on the leaderboard has to create a really bizarre internal pressure.
It creates an intense, isolated flow state. Rahm was pushing Hatton to his absolute limit all afternoon because Hatton couldn't just relax and coast to a team victory. That internal rivalry forced him to play at a level that completely dominated the rest of the field.
And he did it while dealing with a completely different kind of pressure sleep deprivation.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah, Hatton won his first Live E title since 2024, just after becoming a father. He had this incredible, deeply relatable quote after the round. He said, "I'll walk into a crying newborn, and I'll be doing nappies tonight."
That is hilarious. A great reality check.
Totally. We also saw Eugenio Chikara claim a really hard-fought one-shot victory at 11 under par at the KLM Open on the DP World Tour.
Also a great finish.
But while we celebrate all these winners, I actually want to talk about the players who didn't win. The guys on the cut line.
The bubble boys.
Yes. Because over on the Live E circuit, Thomas Detry stumbled late in his round, and that stumble narrowly saved Joaquin Niemann's exemption into the Open Championship.
And honestly, the psychology of the players hovering on the qualification bubble is arguably the most compelling part of the sport.
How does a player even manage that cognitive load? Like, Niemann is playing his own ball, but his entire fate, his access to a major championship, is intrinsically tied to what Thomas Detry is doing 3 groups ahead of him.
It is incredibly toxic to a player's performance. When a player is hovering on a qualification bubble, they basically stop playing to win and start playing not to lose.
Oh, wow.
We call it playing defensive golf. When you play aggressively to make birdies, your swing is fluid and free. But when you are just trying to avoid bogeys to protect your ranking points, your muscles tighten.
You lose that natural rhythm.
Exactly. You start steering the golf club rather than actually swinging it. Niemann was basically forced to grind out pars and rely entirely on Detry's failure.
That sounds miserable.
That kind of backdoor qualification brings immense relief, obviously. But the stress of scoreboard watching while trying to execute a precise physical motion is paralyzing.
It transforms the sport entirely.
Yeah.
The leaderboard isn't just a list of scores anymore. It is a live tracker of job security and career access.
Right. The financial implications are massive.
The razor-thin margins between a legacy-defining victory and missing out on a major championship entirely are exactly what makes professional golf so mesmerizing for us to watch. And this past week delivered that drama across every major tour on the planet.
It reinforces the reality that professional golf is never just a physical execution challenge. It is a constantly shifting environmental puzzle that you have to solve while actively managing your own central nervous system.
That is perfectly said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. Consider the stark contrast we just explored today. Think about the immense, agonizing physical toll of walking 33 holes on a Sunday at Muirfield Village, battling heavy, unpredictable winds and just sheer physical exhaustion.
Yeah.
And then compare that to the sharp, suffocating mental toll of standing over a 30-inch putt on the 18th hole at Riviera, knowing a single fraction of an inch changes your place in history forever.
It's 2 totally different extremes of pressure.
Yeah. Exactly. The margins separating the best in the world are shrinking at an astonishing rate. And the game is increasingly won not just to the quiet, isolated space between a player's ears, but inside the microscopic, engineered dimples of a perfectly chosen golf ball. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel so you never miss future golf news, tournament reviews, equipment updates, and expert analysis. If there is a golf topic, player, tournament, technology, coaching method, or industry development you would like us to investigate, please send us an email. We are always looking for new topics and will be delighted to research them and create a dedicated podcast episode for you. Thank you for being part of our golf community, and we look forward to having you with us again in our next episode.